Can you describe your training and experience, please?
Yes, I have a Bachelor of Arts with an emphasis in Japanese language. I completed the Washington State Basic Law Enforcement Academy, which is 720 hours training, including criminal law, criminal investigation, collisions, first aid. I've also completed a 8-hour deaf awareness workshop, a 32-hour course in drone operations, and recently a 16-hour interview course.
And as a patrol officer, what do you do? What are your duties?
My duties are I'm assigned to a specific area of Lacey, whether it's north, central, or south. I'm responsible for answering calls of service. Could be anywhere from just answering phone calls for public service, answering questions about Lacey municipal codes, Washington state laws, doing investigations into burglaries, thefts, also in doing traffic enforcement.
Okay. And were you employed by the Lacey Police Department then in October of 2024?
I was.
And were you working or on duty on October 18th, 2024 at approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
I was.
Did you become involved in an investigation occurring at Timberline High School on that day?
I did, yes.
Is that at 6121 Mullen Road Southeast in Lacey, Washington?
I believe so, yes.
And did you go to that location?
I did.
Who did you, if anyone, go to that location with?
I went with my field training officer, Officer Bell.
What is a field training officer?
They're responsible for making sure that once we graduate academy, we meet the requirements that the Lacey Police Department has for new entry-level officers. So with him, he was my phase 3, which would be towards the end of the training that the department gives new officers.
And when you say you went there with him, does that mean you share a vehicle? You
Yes.
go in pairs? What does that look like?
At that point on that phase, I was the driver of the vehicle and he was sitting in the passenger seat in the front.
And do you know about what time you arrived?
I think it was approximately 2:24.
And well, first of all, which direction are you coming from?
I was coming from Rebel Road, so I was going to be traveling eastbound on Mullen Road.
And what did you observe when you arrived?
I observed moderate to heavy traffic. It appeared that school had just let out. There's the high school on the left-hand side of the road if you're going eastbound, and then there's another elementary school farther down the road. So there's a lot of cars coming and going from that area, school buses, things like that.
When you say another elementary school, is that on the left-hand side of the road or the right-hand side?
It would be the right-hand side of the road.
Okay, so across the street and a little bit farther down from the high school, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So you said you observed medium to heavy traffic in the area due to school ending and those two schools. Is there anything that specifically drew your attention as you were arriving?
Yes, there was a group of people standing on the sidewalk on the Timberline side, so the left-hand side of where I was facing.
Okay, and where were there any markers or landmarks, so to speak, on that left-hand side of the road where you saw that group? Something to orient
Yes.
the jury to?
So there was the intercity transit bus stop at that location, and then just east of that is the entrance to the school's parking lot.
And where did you see that group of people in relation to that intercity transit bus stop?
They were roughly gathered around where that bus stop pole is.
You said where the pole is?
Yes.
Okay. And were there any other officers on scene yet at that time?
Yes, I did. I saw one other officer.
Do you know who that officer was?
Officer Hang.
Where did you see Officer Hang?
He was in the like bark or dirt part of the school grounds. He was bent over or kneeling and holding somebody down.
Okay. Were there any other individuals with Officer Hang?
There was an adult male.
And was that adult male an officer or a civilian?
He looked to be a civilian.
Okay. And you said they were holding someone down. Was the person they were holding down an adult, a child, or something else?
Appeared to be an adult.
Adult, male or female?
Male.
And was that person an officer or a civilian?
It was a civilian.
And you said there were a crowd of people there. How would you describe that crowd of people? Is that a Were those adults, children, or something else?
They appear to be primarily high schoolers.
Okay. What did you do next as you were arriving? Where'd you go?
I pulled my vehicle into the left turn lane to go into Timberline High School. I had my red and blue lights on. I exited my vehicle and approached to where Officer Hang was kneeling on the ground. And then at that point, we asked what he needed to assist him.
Okay. And what was your duty then in terms of assisting?
I was to gather the witness statements from anybody that had seen what had occurred prior to my arrival.
Okay. And where did you do that?
I did that at the inner city bus stop.
Okay. And who were you gathering witness statements from?
I got their names.
Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
Who were you getting witness statements
I
from?
was getting witness statements from the high schoolers that were at the bus stop.
And do you remember specifically who you spoke with at the bus stop? Where or when did you speak with Miss Carter?
I first approached the teenagers that had stated that they had seen what happened.
And again, without repeating anything anyone told you, where or when did you speak with Miss Carter?
When I initially made contact at the bus stop.
Did she provide you a statement at that time?
She did not know.
Was there a bus coming at that point?
She stated that she needed to catch a bus. Yes, I did not see one at the time.
Okay. And did you get her information to take a later statement?
I did, yes.
Okay. At some point during your investigation, well, let me back up. At any point during your interaction or your time on scene, did you come in contact with anyone by the name? What about Haneen Ali? No contact.
That would be in the parking lot proper of the Timberline High School.
Was that before or after you made contact with? And when you observed Zara and Haneen Ali, how would you identify how they appeared in terms of what they were wearing? I mean, who was wearing what?
Haneen was wearing I believe it's a headscarf called a hijab. She was wearing a black raincoat or overcoat, a blue button-up shirt, and black pants.
Okay. And what was Zara wearing?
She was also wearing a hijab and a long ankle-length overcoat, something that was black with some sort of leopard print dress or long covering underneath.
At some point during your investigation, did you become familiar with the name of? Okay. At what point of your investigation do you recall you became aware of Fatima Ali?
Well, when I spoke with Haneen and Zara, they had mentioned their daughter.
Okay. And were you able to determine based on a conversation with Zara who Fatima was in relation to Zara?
Yes.
And who was Fatima in relation to Zara?
Zara said it was her daughter.
Were you able to determine what were you aware at some point of anyone by the name of, based on your conversation with Zara, was any connection between Isaiah and Fatima?
Yes.
What was that connection?
From my understanding was that Isaiah was Fatima's boyfriend.
Do you recall during the course of your conversation with Zara Ali, whether she made any statements about Isaiah specifically?
Yes.
And what did she say about Isaiah as it related to her daughter?
She stated to me that Isaiah was changing her daughter's mind and that he was a danger to her.
And were you speaking during in the time that you had contact with Zara and Haneen? Were you speaking to both women, just Haneen, Zara, or something else?
I was speaking to both.
And was Haneen relaying to you what she believed had occurred that day as well?
Yes,
And was that conversation with you in English?
it was.
And during your interaction with Haneen, did Zara provide details?
She did.
What did that look like? Meaning, did they speak individually? Did they provide a group statement? What did that interaction between Haneen, Zara, and you look like in terms of pace or smoothness of that conversation?
It was relatively choppy. When I would direct questions at Haneen, Zara would interject or they would start talking over each other, so it was a little difficult to follow at times. When I would ask clarifying questions, Zara would often interject with her recollection of events.
Okay. And was that communication with you from Zara with you also in English?
It was.
During the course of your interaction with Zara Ali, did she indicate to you whether she had observed Isaiah punching her husband?
She did.
Did she indicate what that looked like?
She made gestures with one of her arms in a punching motion, or like a rapid punching motion.
Okay. So what did she say about her observations of Isaiah punching her husband?
She said when she arrived, she saw Isaiah hitting her husband.
And did she indicate if her husband was on the ground at that time?
She did not.
And did you ask them to clarify where they were when they made the observations about Zara hitting her husband?
I did.
And what was the response?
The response was both of them answered at the same time. Haneen stated that
Without introducing what Haneen said, please.
Okay. Zara made a gesture based off where she was standing towards the school and was saying that they fled in that direction. They being Fatima and Isaiah.
How did Zara appear to you when describing what was happening, what she said she observed happening to her husband when she arrived?
She was upset. She would pace back and forth. Her hands would either be clasped in front of her or wringing her hands. She would break down in sobs occasionally, but I'd never observed any tears or reddening of her face or anything like that.
Okay. Did Zara make any statements about what she believed or what she was relaying Isaiah had done to her?
Yes.
Did you observe any visible injuries to either woman, either Haneen or Zara?
I did not.
How did their clothing appear to you? Meaning, what condition or state was their clothing in?
It did not appear disheveled. I didn't notice any marks of dirt, smudges, creases, anything like that.
When you, at some point during your interaction with Zara and Haneen, did you give them any instructions or directives about where they could go or what they could do while on the scene?
I did, yes.
And how would you describe their responsiveness to those directives?
At times they appeared not to hear what was said, or they were slow to respond in the affirmative of not doing what I asked or doing what I asked.
Okay. And so during the course of the time, was there any request from Zara to speak with her husband?
Yes.
Okay. Was she immediately allowed to do that?
No, she was not.
And what did that interaction look like? How would you describe that period of your interaction with Zara?
She became upset. She continually repeated that she just wanted to speak to her husband, and began kind of pacing around or trying to move past where myself and other officers were standing at the time.
And did other officers have to intervene to stop her from going to her husband?
Yes.
What was Haneen doing during this period of time without repeating anything that she was saying?
She was following Zara.
How would you describe her demeanor?
She was also upset. She was slightly more calm in her tone and pitch when she was speaking with me, but she was visibly also upset.
And when you say upset, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean by upset? I know that that is a general term, but what does that look like?
Her voice would raise in pitch. She would kind of sob, speak rapidly, breathe rapidly, pace around.
Did they continue to try to get to Ihsan Ali despite officers' instructions?
Yes.
Did you eventually allow Zara to speak with Ihsan?
Yes.
And what about Hanim?
She as well.
And did you hear any of that conversation?
I heard the conversation, but I did not understand it.
What do you mean?
It was not in English.
During the course of your interaction with Zara Ali, did she ever ask you about the health or welfare of Fatima?
She did not.
Did she ask you about Fatima at all?
She asked to speak with her.
And just speak with her?
Yes.
At any point, did you observe whether Zara ever attempted to return to the school?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did she say about that?
She says that she wanted to speak with her daughter.
For how long?
Initially, she just repeated, I want to speak with my daughter. She's my daughter. And then when I repeatedly told her that she was not allowed to do so, she said she just needed 1 minute.
What was her initial response when you told her that she could not do that?
She became upset. Eventually, she went and took a seat on one of the curbs where the parking stalls were and began rocking back and forth and repeating a phrase I didn't understand.
I'm sorry, repeating what?
A phrase that I didn't understand what she was saying.
Okay. Did you tell her whether she was being seen by fire or medics?
Yes.
And at that point, did she ask about the physical condition of her child, like whether she was okay?
She did not.
Officer Chavez, how did you find out that Fatima had been choked or strangled by Ihsan?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for legal conclusion. Well, and also calls for hearsay and hearsay.
Sustained as to form of the question.
Officer Chavez, at any point during your interaction with Zara Ali, did she mention her husband's interactions with her child?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Just a few questions. Good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
So when you arrived on scene, Mr. Ali was laying on the ground? Is that
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. And is it fair to say then that by the time you got there, pretty much the entire incident up to that point, you got from other people, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the people that you talked to were the kids that were around there, right?
Correct.
All right. And now I think it might have been you. Let me ask, was it you that tried to get the written statements from those kids?
That's correct.
Okay. And you didn't have any forms?
That's correct.
Okay. So you never got any written statements?
That's correct.
And you, at that point, things were pretty fresh. I assume you hadn't seen any videos or anything?
I had not. No.
Okay. So all the information that you were going on was based upon what people were telling you?
Correct.
Thank you. No more.
Mr. Leary, cross-examination.
Good morning, sir.
All right, so if I understand correctly, you get dispatched to this call?
Correct.
Do you recall how long it took you to get there?
Maybe 10 minutes?
And you were roughly the second officer that you saw on the scene?
Correct.
And Officer Hung had Mr. Ali detained on the ground, correct?
Correct.
And you walked up and said, basically, what do I need to do?
That's correct.
And that's kind of typical protocol, right?
Correct.
See if there's what the other officer needs. If he had needed assistance, you would have provided it, fair?
Correct.
But he didn't ask you to help, correct?
Correct.
And so you saw students standing around, and logically it then made sense to talk and find out who knew what
Correct.
and get their information.
Correct.
Did you separate the students to talk to them individually?
I did not know.
Okay, so they're all talking in a semicircle around you,
Correct.
and you're taking notes?
Correct.
And you also have your body worn video activated, is that fair?
That's
And is
correct.
it on throughout the entire process?
It is.
Did you review that prior to testifying today?
I did.
And that's what it's for, right?
Correct.
And so did you have concerns about kind of witnesses hearing what other witnesses said and having it impact their observations and ability to provide independent descriptions?
In the moment, no.
Okay. How about later?
Well, now that I'm no longer in training, I could see the benefit to trying to separate or isolate each individual witness, yes.
And what benefit would you see by having people separate?
Making sure that the witnesses aren't borrowing words from other witnesses.
And so understanding the timeline, so you arrive, you see a fellow officer, you see Mr. Ali, correct?
Correct.
You do not see Zara Ali initially, correct?
No, I did not.
And so you're taking time. Do you recall how long it was you were talking to Caleb Fisk, Eric Price Jr., Athena Rich, and Zayla Carter?
No, I don't recall how long I was.
But you
speaking
were
with
kind of talking to them at the same time sequentially. This is a large conversation, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And it wasn't a brief conversation, correct?
Correct.
And you'd also gone back to your patrol car to see if you had witness forms, and you didn't have them, correct?
Correct.
All right. So then you come back. At one point, Zayla Carter says, "Hey, I got to go catch my bus," and you may have indicated that you would follow up with her, or
Correct.
somebody would, correct?
Correct.
All right. So then you then see Zara Ali and Haneen Ali coming back from the school, correct?
No.
Okay. You didn't know where they came from. Fair?
Well, correct. Yes.
So you didn't see him initially, but after this passage of time, you then have interaction with Zara on Haneen, correct?
Correct.
And at this point, you had not had contact with Fatima Ali, correct?
Correct.
And did you say that you did see her at the school?
I did not know.
Okay, so at no point did you see her at the school.
I did not know.
So that's affirmative?
Correct.
Okay, I just, for the purposes of the court report, I want to make sure we're on the same
Yes, sir.
page. All right. And so you subsequently learned that there was an incident, that the reason for the call was an interaction with Fatima Ali, correct?
Correct.
And that's what you were there talking about and investigating, correct? And so after this passage of time, your attention is then drawn to Zara Ali, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you described her as upset, correct?
Correct.
And so emotionally upset. Just by looking at her, you could tell that something was going on, correct?
Correct.
And that she was pacing back and forth, correct?
Correct.
Wringing her hands, correct?
Correct.
And sobbing.
Correct.
Okay. And I think you didn't see actual tears, but in terms of kind of somebody who is very distraught. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So she had asked to see her daughter. And so did you know from other officers or from some other source as to where Fatima was?
Yes.
And that was, in your understanding, at the school, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so she asked you for permission. Hey, can I go back to the school to see my daughter? And did you check with others, or did you just tell her no?
I told her she was not allowed to at this time.
Okay. And so when she heard that, she was so upset, she then sat down on a curb, started rocking back and forth. Is that what you described?
Correct.
Okay. So then at some point, she is asking to talk with her husband, correct? And he is detained at this point with other officers, correct?
Correct.
And there were multiple officers who were talking to her about whether she could talk with her husband, correct?
Correct.
And you heard those conversations?
Correct.
And there was a discussion to her like, at some point, yes, we will let you talk with your husband, but just not right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And she continued to be very upset as to what was happening and what was going on, correct?
Correct.
You did not take a statement from her, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't sit down and say, hey, I want to interview you. I want to get the facts as to what happened, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so the statement, like, she didn't describe her husband's interactions with their daughter, Fatima, that you didn't ask her, I want you to tell me what happened, what led up to this, correct?
Correct.
All right. So your interactions with her were primarily, hey, can I go see my daughter? Which you said no, correct?
Correct.
Can I see my husband? And you said no, correct?
Correct.
And then her kind of continued grief as to everything that appeared to be going on. Is that fair?
Sounds correct.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Chavez,
Yes, ma'am.
you indicated that you took those statements and you reviewed that prior to today. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And when you took those statements from Caleb Fish, statements all exactly the same.
The majority of it was the same, but each one would add a little bit of a different take on it.
Is it fair to say based on their own vantage point?
I would say so.
When you, how long, if you know, how long would you estimate your contact was with Zara during the course of your time on scene?
Would say no less than 15 minutes
Collectively.
collective.
And during the course of that, did she provide you a statement? Meaning, did she come to give you a statement?
Sustained.
During the course of your time with her, did she voluntarily speak with you?
Yes.
Sustained.
During the course of the time that you interacted with her, did she attempt to give you details about the events? It's about Zara Ali.
I understand that. Members of the jury, it is 10:28, and so we are at time for our morning recess. I will tell you that we do anticipate that this is longer than a 15-minute recess, 20, maybe 30, hopefully 20, but longer than 15 minutes, and then we'll have you back in. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
All things considering, we have our TiVo time, right? It's TiVo time. So we get past this, right? You taking those 20-minute breaks on us. What they talking about? Oh, wait a minute. They gonna talk. Wait a minute. They arguing something. Oh, wait a minute. Let me rewind. Hold on. It looks like they're gonna let the jury out, Parker, and then they are about to argue something. So let's make sure ain't nobody getting checked. She probably mute her mic like she do.
during the trial. If you have a case that you would like to refer
Y'all better stop letting me sit up here on mute. That's why y'all can't hear the judge. I can hear everything she said. Oh, Madness Monday. Look, I'm gonna rewind it so y'all can hear the argument that they're making. It's in regards to the statements from the mom, Zahara. So here we go. I'm gonna rewind it.
Thank you, Ms. Stone.
Yeah, that's
Let me get back so y'all can hear them. Yeah, y'all.
Mr. Larry, go ahead and make your objection, please.
Your Honor, objection as to commenting on, my client has a right not to say anything, and the fact that she didn't freely offer additional information is shifting the burden to her and infringing on her Fifth Amendment right, and also rights under the court rules.
Thank you, Ms. Stone.
Yeah, no, that's not accurate. Miss Ali, Zara Ali specifically approached with Timmy and Ali because they wanted law enforcement to know what their position was. Those statements have already come in. They were not in custody. They're not custodial statements. Notably, the case law also is very clear that the state can identify when statements are made, that right to not speak has been waived, and what has not said is equally as important as what is said. So there is no basis for the objection in either what has occurred in terms of the testimony here, in fact, or in case law to support that.
Mr. Larry? Right. So, Ms. Stone, since we're going to have a break, my understanding of the law is consistent with what Mr. Larry just argued as it relates to Ms. Ali's right to remain silent, and the fact that she remains silent ultimately cannot be used against her during the trial. If you have a case that you would like to refer me to, you don't have to give it to me the second. You can look for that. I certainly would like to review additional authority, as you indicated that there is. And once we take our recess, you can provide that information. I know also the parties will be discussing the video as well. So we'll take a 15-minute recess and then we will reconvene. And we'll first discuss the video when we reconvene. And then if there's additional authority, I will take it at that time and take a brief recess to review that before I ultimately rule on the objection. The court will be in recess for 15 minutes. Thank you.
All rise, court's in recess.
Okay, so now they really went on break. So the video that they're arguing is the video that we review where the mom and the daughter are very hysterical after the dad has been arrested. And, you know, look, isn't this a crime too? They're choking him. They're choking him. Isn't this a crime? Of course, we got. So I'm not going to keep us waiting here. We'll just fast forward through the break. Let's see if they argue about this video coming in, because she made statements, I guess, during that period of time of the video. Okay, so it looks like they're coming back and they're talking about the video, right? To see if it should come into evidence or not. Hi. AR7 Win. Hello, welcome. And welcome everybody that is joining our chat today and participating and viewing the Washington versus Ali and Ali. I appreciate all your support and coming over and watching with us. I want to thank all my mods for assisting me and helping me out. We got the best mods and the best chat all on YouTube. We'll soon be all over, right? Let's see. Are they? I know. I'll be trying. The jewels. Okay, so let's listen and see what they're going to decide in regards to this video.
The objection, I'm going to reverse that order. I had an opportunity to review the cases that were that Ms. Stone alluded to in her argument to me as it related to the objection. I was provided copies of those. I was provided copies of State versus Hager, 171 Washington 2nd, 151, 2011, I believe. State versus Clark, 143 Washington 2nd, 731, a 2001 case, and State versus Young, which is a 1978 case, 89 Washington 2nd, 613. Mr. Larry, did Ms. Stone provide you with those cases or cites to those cases?
I received copies of Young, Hager, and Clark, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do you wish to offer any further argument?
I do.
Go ahead.
So I think the difference here is, so in Clark, the court holds that when he provided conflicting accounts as to why he didn't follow Lieutenant Heggie's instructions to meet with the detective at the Dolphin House, the key was that he had offered a conflicting account in response to specific questions. And I'm just throwing out, this is on page 28 of 38.
Yep.
Our copy. And so I'm looking at, looks like head note 26. With respect to Hager, I'm looking on page 7 of 10, just above head note 3. Again, defendant spoke to the police on 2 occasions prior to his arrest, gave conflicting accounts as to why he failed to meet with officers at the crime scene as he had promised. And then Young, it was this question as to whether or not he had specific knowledge of the crime, and his questions around specific knowledge. Here, the state, I think, is trying to elicit the fact that she did not provide questions or statements or inquire about her daughter. Factually, we know there's an incident. My client runs to the school. I anticipate that the testimony tomorrow from a witness is going to say that my client ran into the school, was told to leave, and was then said, "You cannot see your daughter." The officers who were in the parking lot talking to my client specifically, this witness never went to the school, never saw Fatima, told my client that she could not return to the school, and never asked her questions. And that's the key thing, is she didn't ask her questions. Tell me what happened. Tell me about your daughter. What did you see about your daughter? Do you want to share with me about your daughter? And so I think that is where it would get into Hager and Clark if there were questions. I mean, this is essentially saying you didn't provide a statement when you weren't asked. And so it's not relevant. I don't think it's fair. I mean, the witness said, I didn't interview her. There was a request to see the daughter, which she was shut down by the officer. So there's not a conflicting, like, we asked you what happened, and now you're saying, I saw, a gun. Well, how come you never told us you saw a gun? That's a relevant question where there's a serious breach of, you're now offering some really different testimony, and that's just not here.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stone?
Thank you, Your Honor. Plainly, that's not the requirement of the case law. Clark says that there could be a number of different circumstances, but specifically that when you are talking about when a defendant does not remain silent, and I'm looking at head note 25, which is at page 765 of the opinion. When a defendant does not remain silent and instead talks to police, the state may comment on what he does not say. Then it cites to Young, it cites to Osborne, which is vacated on other grounds. Hager is also addressed as well. I let law enforcement, I let defense counsel know of an unpublished case as of recently as 2021, State versus Johnson, which restates the same thing. There is no infringement on a defendant's right to remain silent when they make statements to law enforcement, when they provide a version of events to law enforcement, and they actively do not provide other events to law enforcement. They don't make other statements to law enforcement, especially when one might expect them to make those statements. The rule does not require that questions are asked. The rule does not require that there are, and the case law does not require that there are conflicting statements. Plainly, that is not part of the analysis. It is simply once they have waived their right to remain silent, that opens the door for what the parties can inquire about what was said, how it was said, and plainly what was not said. So in this case, you're right. I believe counsel is right. Officer Chavez did not specifically inquire about the status of Fatima, but what the officers did do is consistently ask everyone present, what's going on? Can you tell me what happened? Can you tell me what's going on? And the only information provided by Mrs. Ali as to those events was what Isaiah was doing to her husband. And she was adamant, and it was repeated over and over again. Not once does she mention what her husband is doing to her daughter. That is relevant, that is significant, and it specifically goes to the interest of Miss Ali during the course of these events. It is notable, too, I would say for the state, that when we are talking about, it's not unfair, it is Mrs. Ali's statements. Mrs. Ali actively engaged, voluntarily engaged. She's not arrested. She is not in custody. It is not any part of any pre-arrest silence. She is voluntarily providing that information because she wants law enforcement to act in a certain way. When counsel argues, well, she was told she couldn't go to the school. She was also told that she couldn't go see her husband, and law enforcement had to continually intervene. She consistently declined to follow their directives. So it is absolutely relevant when we are talking, one, about where Ms. Ali's interests were at the time of these events, that is inconsistent with what I anticipate the argument has been or is going to be at closing by defense counsel. It's also inconsistent with the cross-examination questions that counsel has presented during the course of this trial about Mrs. Ali saying, my daughter, as if that was her primary concern. Her interaction with law enforcement says otherwise. Additionally, we have gone through this trial having defense counsel arguing that Mrs. Ali doesn't understand English, that her ability to understand, let's say, the substance of no contact orders and trespass orders is impacted by her ability to understand English. These interactions with law enforcement specifically speak to contrary information to that knowledge, and that she's able to offer the information when she wants to offer information, and she chooses not to when she chooses not to, when that is of import to her. So the inquiries that she actually made about her daughter are relevant. The inquiries that she didn't make about her daughter, and specifically as on direct examination, the state elicited, there was no objection, presumably because defense counsel believes it's helpful to them, that did Mrs. Ali say anything about her daughter? Yes, she asked to speak with her for just 1 minute. She asked me a number of times to speak with her daughter, and for just 1 minute, and then sat down. What she never asks, and what we've elicited throughout this trial, is about the condition or welfare of her daughter. Instead, her attention is focused throughout on her husband. So that is not a comment on her right to remain silent. She has waived it, and plainly a pre-arrest silence in this case does not apply. She's not in custody. She's not arrested until days later, and she is voluntarily engaging in offering up information that she believes is important to law enforcement in their investigation in this case. So I would ask the court to deny the objection.
All right, thank you. Anything further, Mr. Larry?
I'm just struggling with this. The issue in Kager and Young is there's specific questions that they provided misleading answers to, and thus they're then cross-examined. They say, well, you had an opportunity to say this to this specific question, and you refused or provided a conflicting answer. This witness didn't interview my client and didn't say, I want a detailed description of what happened. She describes, that her husband was struck, but there was no discussion. There was no interview with this officer who was just beginning on the force And so I think it's misleading to the jury to somehow say that it was incumbent upon my client to provide a narrative when not asked by Officer Chavez. And we haven't, there's body-worn video and they're not choosing to use it. That would, they're not pointing to a specific point. At this section, this is when she provided a misleading or conflicting answer or an incomplete answer. It's just that somehow she was supposed to volunteer information. I think that's a problem.
All right, thank you. There were three questions where there were objections. The first question was, and during the course of that, did she, and were questions to Officer Chavez related to interactions with Mrs. Ali, did she provide you a statement? Meaning, did she come to give you a statement? Objection sustained. I continue to sustain that objection. The next question was, during the course of your time with her, did she voluntarily speak with you? Response, yes. Mr. Leary objected. I sustained the objection. I no longer sustain that objection. I overrule that objection. And that question should be re-asked of the witness, and she will be able to answer that question, whether or not Mrs. Ali voluntarily spoke with her. If and we already actually know that she did because the officer has already testified to some of their interactions and some of the statements that Mrs. Ali made voluntarily to Officer Chavez. And these cases talk about when a defendant does not remain silent and instead talks to police. It doesn't say answers questions asked by the police. It says when they talk to the police, the state may comment on what the person does not say. And that by asking those questions, it is not commenting on a right to remain silent because the person has chosen not to remain silent and instead has chosen to voluntarily speak with law enforcement. And so in that way, I am going to be overruling the objection and allowing the witness to answer questions. I do not find that that violates Mrs. Ali's constitutional right to remain silent, does not violate. Really, the argument is the state commenting on a right to remain silent because she did not remain silent. Let's address the video if there is an issue as it relates to the video at this point. First, I'll ask, was there an opportunity to review the exhibit that's been referenced this morning? Ms. Stone?
Yes, Sharon, I provided all three of those exhibits from Officer Bell's body camera to defense counsel. My understanding from Mr. Leary is that he is objecting to one of them. I'm not sure entirely of the base, but it may, the basis for that objection in terms of what evidence rule. But it may be that he wants to play it for the court first, and I suppose I would ask for clarification from Mr. Leary. That conversation happened literally just before the court. The review of the videos happened while the court was off the bench. The conversation about where Mr. Leary's objections might land happened just a bit before the court came in. So I'd ask Mr. Leary for clarification.
So actually, I'm gonna stop you there, Mr. Leary, because I want to bring Officer Chavez back and conclude. We're at 11:20 and the jury's been in recess for quite a while. Now that I know that it's going to be a lengthier issue and that it could require me to review the video that is being objected to, that's going to take longer. So I'd prefer to conclude this witness, then I can let the jury go for lunch and we can deal with the video issue at that time. And then I will fully hear from you at that time.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Please bring the jury back in. Please get your.
Thank you.
Please be seated. Members of the jury, at the time that we took our recess, there had been 3 questions and there had been 3 objections. I sustained 2 objections, and then on the last question, I didn't rule. And that's when you went for your morning recess. You will not probably specifically remember, nor am I going to repeat what those questions were. I would indicate, however, that as to the second question where I sustained the objection, I've changed that ruling and I'm now overruling that objection. And as to the third objection that I had not ruled on, I am overruling that objection. Ms. Stone, you may continue.
Thank you. Officer Chavez, when we left off, I believe my question to you was, did Mrs. Ali come to voluntarily speak with you?
Yes.
And how would you describe her engagement in trying to provide you information? Meaning, eager, reluctant, something else?
She appeared eager.
Sustained.
How did she engage with you? How would you describe that engagement?
Her initial reaction to seeing me appearing on scene was to approach me and begin to plead or beseech me.
Okay. And during that interaction, who was she expressing her concern for? When you say beseech you, about what? What does that mean?
Would you like me to tell you what she told
You
me?
can ask questions.
I see.
That's okay.
When she initially made contact with me, she asked if I recognized her, confirmed that I knew who she was, and then stated that there had been people punching her husband.
Okay. And did she describe details about what that looked like?
She made the punching motions with her hand.
Okay. And throughout that interaction with her, who, if anyone, throughout the course of the entire interaction, who, if anyone, did she express primary concern for?
Could you restate the question?
Yeah, I'll
Sorry.
rephrase that. When you interacted with Mrs. Ali, did she express concern for her husband?
Yes.
Did that seem important to her?
Yes.
During your interaction with Mrs. Ali, did she ask about the specific health of Fatima?
No.
Did she ever discuss the actions of her husband on Fatima during that period of time?
No.
And how much of your interaction with her was focused on her husband's condition and what Isaiah had done to her husband?
I would say that was her primary focus.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Officer Chavez, so you got to the scene, you talked to the kids that were out front at the bus stop, right?
Correct.
You never went into the school?
I did not.
And you said you didn't know where Fatima had come from, right?
Correct.
Did you talk to any of the kids about when Zara arrived on scene?
How do you mean?
Sorry. You can indicate you can't answer, you don't understand, but you can't ask
I
questions.
understand.
Did
I
you-
don't understand the question.
Okay, when the kids you were talking to about what happened, did they tell you when Zara got there?
Not specifically.
Okay. All right, no further questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Larry, cross-examination.
Thank you.
So, just to follow up, you had no information about Fatima, correct? In terms of her condition, correct?
Correct.
Couldn't see her, correct?
Correct.
Didn't see what was going on inside the school, correct?
Correct.
Whether she had been seen by the fire department, correct?
Not initially. Correct.
What's that?
I did not initially know her condition.
Okay. And so, and you never told Zara that you had information about her daughter, correct?
At one point I did, yes.
Okay. As to her condition?
As to her being seen by the fire department,
Okay. Did you have information as to what the results were of that?
I did not.
And did you make efforts on the radio to inquire how she was doing?
I did not.
Okay. So, but in front of her is her husband who's been handcuffed and detained, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you told her that she couldn't go to the school to check on her daughter, correct?
Correct. I told her she could not go to the school.
Right. So couldn't go to see what the fire department was doing, correct?
Correct.
You ordered her to stay away from the school.
Correct.
And she followed your directive, right?
She did.
Okay. So then her husband has been, from the outward appearance, arrested, right?
Correct.
Right. So he's in handcuffs, correct?
Correct.
Put in the back of a squad car,
Correct.
correct? And she is concerned for him, right? She
Yes.
appears to be concerned for him, correct?
Correct.
And describing how he had been punched repeatedly in the head, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that was information that she wanted you to have to understand, you meaning collectively the police, about her husband, right?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. And I just want to be clear, you interviewed the 4 students you talked about, correct?
I interviewed 3 of them, yes.
Okay. You attempted to interview 4, you were able to interview 3 of them, correct?
Correct.
You did not conduct an interview of my client, correct?
Correct.
You didn't attempt to do an interview of her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there were other officers present who said, we will let you talk to your husband in due course, right?
Correct.
And she said, I really want to talk to my husband. I want to know what's going on, correct?
I don't remember her exact words.
Okay. But that was what she appeared. She wanted to communicate with him, correct? All right. Who had just been detained after what she described as an incident where he was punched, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you ever tell her that she could talk to her daughter?
I said at some point she would be allowed to.
Did you tell her when?
I did not.
Okay. Nothing further.
Redirect.
Briefly, Your Honor, thank you. When you told Mrs. Ali that fire medics were checking out her daughter, what was her reaction?
She didn't have any specific reaction.
And but she said she was present when she saw the punches happening, is correct?
She described her husband being punched, yes.
And at the time, her husband was in a police car. He wasn't being dragged through the street or something like that. Is that fair?
Correct.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Kading, any further cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry? May this witness be excused?
Subject to recall, but yes, please. Your Honor.
All right. You may step down. Thank